So Claudia, as Amanda so well said, we've upgraded a little bit from montages. Praise God. And this beautiful plaque says, with our greatest appreciation, we hereby honor Claudia Gardner. Thank you for over 17 years of dedicated service, excellence, and hard work. You have transformed the lives of millions of people, both here and around the world, by spreading hope and hope. And we have some other little things for you here that you can open later, but we'd love to hear from you this morning.
I'll have a hard time keeping it together. But I thank you all so much. I just count it an honor to be here and to have been part of the World Help team for so long. I tell everybody, it's not just an organization, it's a family. And we all support each other, and I felt that support so deeply when I was diagnosed with cancer, and I knew I had a team of people praying for me, and it helped me get through it. So thank you so much. I guess if I could challenge you with anything, it would be to keep your eyes open for what God is doing. Sometimes we hear reports and we hear the great stories, but just keep your own personal eyes open to what He's doing in your life and what He's doing around the world. Some of you may not know this, but when I was 19 years old, I was part of a team led by Roscoe Brewer, who is Vernon's uncle. He took me on my very first mission trip, and he took Vernon on his very first mission trip. So he was very instrumental in my life and Donna's life and Vernon's life. And I was 19, and there had been an earthquake in Guatemala. And we drove a team from Lynchburg all the way to the hills of Guatemala. And we spent the whole summer there. And it was, World Help trips now are not like those trips. We had one truck that followed us. We had a 7 caravan group, and the one was a large truck that had all Army rations in it and supplies. And we made our own tent city. We were up in the mountains during the rainy season, and it was life-changing for this 19-year-old girl. Had never been out of the country before. You didn't even need a passport back then. You just showed your birth certificate and they let you in. But it was a wonderful time. We helped reconstruct 10 church buildings that had been destroyed, and we did evangelistic meetings at night, construction in the daytime, and basic survival. We dug our own latrines and made our own showers, and it was what you would call extreme missions back then. But a few years ago, well, no, not even a few years, just a couple years ago, a pastor that was working in Guatemala was asking me a lot of questions about the history of the Catholic Church and about Mayan worship, the way they worshiped the spirits and everything. And so I started doing some research online. And I came across this article that said pretty much Guatemala was 98% Catholicism. But it wasn't regular Catholicism like it is here in the States. It was all mixed with Spiritism and the worship that the Mayans had. And but until 1976. That was the year my team was down there with Roscoe. And it said that year, after the earthquake, so many evangelical groups went down to offer help. We did help with food. We did help with reconstructing buildings. And we offered help, but we also shared the gospel. So way back then, we were doing the help and the hope. And it said that year was the beginning of the explosion of the evangelical church in Guatemala. And now they say, the statistics shows that by 2030, there will be more evangelicals in Guatemala than there will be Catholics. And I sat there and reading that article and was just in tears, and I thought, God, I had a little tiny part of that, because everywhere we went that summer, we shared the gospel. The last 2 weeks we were did crusades all through Guatemala City in the high schools, and we saw hundreds of people come to Christ. But that article said that was just the beginning of the explosion of the evangelical church in Guatemala. So when I say keep your eyes open, I mean, I didn't even know that, but I just praise God that I was able to be a part of that, and even through the years of World Help, be able to be a part of that. One of my most special memories in a village in Guatemala was with Maranatha Bible Church in Ohio, and we were working in the village of Tequiz, there was no evangelical church in that village. It was just one big Catholic church, and it was a huge village, like 500 families. And every day when we'd start our activities, our Bible studies and vacation Bible school, you could hear the priest ringing the bells of the Catholic Church, trying to get the people to come to the Catholic Church and not come to what we were doing. But people didn't listen, they still came. And Greg Peters, his mother-in-law, was on the trip. He was one of the pastors, led the team. His mother-in-law was so nervous. She goes, Craig wants me to share with the women in the village, and I don't know what to say. She was a little tiny woman, about 4'8", and weighed probably 85 pounds. She was really tiny. And I said, well, tell me your story. We had about an hour drive there to the village. And so she told me that when she was first married, she and her husband were Catholics, and their first child had severe disabilities. And the doctor said, just put her in a home and forget about her. You'll just move on. She'll always be a vegetable. And she said, Claudia, I wasn't a Christian then, but there's no way I could do that. And so Susan, her daughter, lived to be 26 years old, but she took care of her for all of her life. And it was Susan that brought her to Christ, because someone in the neighborhood who was a Christian invited her to a ladies' Bible study and offered help to her. And so that's how she became a Christian. And I said, that's what you need to share with the ladies in the village today. I think their mentality is an American woman, all she does is watch TV and eat chocolates all day. I said, they need to know that we have struggles too. We have challenges too. And so she did. And that day, there were 6 women that came forward to accept Christ. And the last woman was holding a child, just like Susan. And that was the beginning of the evangelical church presence in that village. And so I recently got back from Cuba with Smith family and Patty, and I've heard about Cuba for a long time, from Michael's stories and Victor, hearing him on morning meetings and so forth. And when I was there, I asked God, just help me see what you're doing here. And when I realized, since 2010, the church planters there have planted 3,600 churches. And there's been over 200,000 people come to follow Christ because of the work that God is doing there and World Help's presence there. And so as you work here, don't forget to really pay attention to what God is doing, because he's working in Cuba. There's no doubt in my mind that the Spirit of God is working there, and great things are going to happen in Cuba. And to realize that what you do every day for World Help, you're having a part in what God is doing in Cuba. And you're going to have a part in what's happening in Thailand with all these girls that are being trained, the people that are learning about Christ, and their lives are being changed. You have a part in that. And so I just challenge you to keep your spiritual eyes open and realize what God is doing through this organization, through our amazing partners around the world. Yesterday, Steve had a dental appointment we had to go to, and one of the dental assistants came and was talking to me, and she asked me, I was telling her, she commented on my earrings that I had, and I was telling her it's from Guatemala and that I used to go there a lot leading trips, and she goes, oh, that's so great, because she was learning what we're doing. She says, I'm originally from Cambodia. In the 1970s, we had to escape Cambodia, and we went into Thailand, and we lived in a refugee camp there until we got papers to come here. And I remember as a little girl, I was 6 or 7 years old, standing in line with my bowl, waiting to get some food. And I didn't eat it there. I took it home to my family because she had 6 or 7 brothers and sisters. And I had this big flashback, another trip with Roscoe Brewer in Thailand, working in those refugee centers, giving blankets and children's toys at Christmas time. And it was just amazing to see and to know that she was one of those children that we were able to minister to. And now she's here, and she's a believer and is so thankful for all that God has done in her life. So just really pay attention to what God is doing. Noelle made me laugh out loud the other day on morning meeting when she said his advantage of getting older is to be able to look back. And I thought, oh, she's so young and she's saying that. But it is true. You can look back on God's faithfulness. You can look back on what he's done through your life and in your life and all the effects of it. So there's some things in heaven we won't know until we get there, about people that we've met, people that we've been able to impact. But this is an amazing, amazing ministry, an amazing team. God has done great things through World Help, and God will continue to do great things through this organization. So I will always be a part of the World Help family, and I'll always share about what you guys are doing. And so I just praise God for the opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. If you want to go back and sit with your family,